the graph shown, okay, provides information about the number of people in an underground station throughout the day. Okay? At a first glance, في النظرة الأولى للوهلة الأولى أو في النظرة الأولى, at first glance, it is clear that the number of people fluctuates, okay, fluctuates throughout the day, and maybe you can even mention the average at about 250 or fluctuates, don't mention the number, okay? So fluctuates throughout the day, with the maximum number being 400 people at 8, and the minimum number or the lowest number being only 100 people at 4 in the afternoon. And you can compare these two. Here. Then we start mentioning some of the steepest rises and the steepest reductions. So first you can say that the steepest rise was where? The steepest rises maybe were here and here. The steepest drops were this one here, alright? Maybe that one, alright? But this is a very small piece of information, and now I am noticing that we're going to too much details. So you need to watch yourself while writing. The lowest numbers are actually here and here. Alright? Here and here. Here, maybe this, no. Alright. So, this is how let's just see a model answer for now. Here it is. Now, of course, this is just an example. So, you can answer it, there are many other ways, but this is a very good one. It's not the only one. The graph shows the fluctuation in the number of people at a London underground station over the course of the day. According to the graph, there is a sharp increase between 6 and 8 in the morning. It's in the morning without a me here. Okay, this is in the morning. In the morning, with 400 people using the station at 8 o'clock. So he's mentioning here the peak. 400 people using the station at 8 o'clock. After this, the number falls dramatically to less than 200 at 10 o'clock. Okay, so he's following the graph one by one. At 10 o'clock, 200. Next, or then, between 11 and 3, the number of people rises and falls evenly, or fluctuates, but he is not repeating the sentence, so rises and falls evenly here is more or less the same meaning as fluctuation. Rises and falls evenly with a plateau around lunchtime, which is from 12 to 14, lunchtime. Of just under 300 people using the station. Numbers then decline, with the lowest number being recorded at 4 in the afternoon, which is 100 people. With the lowest number being recorded at 4 in the afternoon. There is then a rapid rise between 4 and 6 p.m. during the evening rush hour, with a peak of 380 people at 6 p.m. After 7 p.m., numbers fall again, or significantly, with only a slight increase again just after 8 p.m. Here, just after 8 p.m., tailing off with a decrease, tailing off after 9 p.m. Tailing off means this when an animal's tail is like this. Okay, so there is an increase here, and then it tails off. Tailing off after 9 p.m. The graph shows that the station is most crowded in the early mornings and early evening rush hour periods. So you are reaching a conclusion. You are concluding from the curve that the busiest hours are here and here. I'm just going to put a circle here. In the early mornings and in the evening rush hour periods. Okay? Try to make a small conclusion here. You don't have to talk about how to fix this or how to reduce this rush hour. Just say that the rush hour, okay, is here and here, or this is the most crowded hours in the station day. All right? So this is how we describe a curve. We take a look from very far behind. It's a fluctuation. Then we start trying to describe the curve in terms of trends. Rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall. Okay? If you see something that is very small here, just say that there is a bit of a stabilization here. There's a plateau. Okay? An increase, decrease, and so on. He mentioned it to be rise and falls evenly. Rise and falls. Rises and falls. Rise and falls evenly with a plateau at lunchtime. Here. Lunchtime. Okay? And then we have dip. A very sharp dip. Maybe. That's a very good word to use. Dip. Alright? Or drop. And around the evenings, in the afternoon at 14. And then he used several expressions here during the evening rush hour. Okay? What's a rush hour? Rush hour is the time at which everyone is leaving or going to work. Okay? It's that time of the day in which everyone is outside their homes and outside their work. Of course, this is a bit not really nice. Okay? Rush hours are very crowded hours in almost every nation. Okay? In almost every nation, the rush hours are very crowded. Especially in the evening when everyone's going out somewhere. In the mall or somewhere. Visiting their friends. Rush hour in the morning, and there is another rush hour in the afternoon and evening somewhere here. Okay? Now, let's take a look at how we should choose and summarize that. I think we have already mentioned this. We should take a look at the graph from far away and then see if there are any rise and sharp rises and drops. If there is a stable, a place where things are stable, just mention rises and falls even here, or gently. Rises and falls gently here. Okay? The rises are not very dramatic. Okay? They're just simple. Rises and falls gently. I think the darker color would be nicer. Even worse. Okay. What about choosing and summarizing data? We'll just read this small thing. In the IELTS test, there may be a lot of information to describe, like in the last graph. In a limited number of words. 150 words, again, is not much. If it's essential that you select the appropriate details and organize the material in a relevant way, it is essential. Okay? It is essential that you select the appropriate details and organize them in a relevant way in order to fulfill the task requirements satisfactorily. Alright? You need to choose the information that is the most dramatic increase, most dramatic decrease, plateaus, in order to fulfill the task requirements satisfactorily. Now this is a very large graph. How about we solve this one in the second part of the lesson? after the break. I'll take a small break now, and then I'll return to solve this part with you. We will be talking about several things here, things like this steady drop here, maybe a plateau here, okay? And then we will be comparing about the UK, or shall we say we will compare about 1995 and 2000 here, and some of the most, the strangest things, maybe what? Of course, this is not a drop, sorry, this is a bar graph, so that's not a drop, okay? So we can say that the highest one is this, okay, while they were just normal, okay? The lowest ones are in the Netherlands always, or Denmark, okay? We will see what we can do here, alright? But after the test, after the small break I'm taking here, we will take a look at this one, and we will carry on explaining trends and other types of data analysis that we should expect in the first task academic. Okay? Thank you for following this one, this first part of session 8, and I will see you in the second part, inshallah. So, welcome back again to the second part of session 8, where I'll be completing the IELTS first task training, hopefully, and let's just jump in right away. Before doing so, before jumping in, let's just review what we did, what we have already done. We have reviewed, we have taken a look at what type of data can come into in an IELTS test. It can be a graph, or it can be a bar graph, or a pie chart, maybe even a line graph that describes a trend. Here we have a bar graph, so it's likely that the data will be separate. So I made a mistake in the first half by describing this one as a trend. It's not. We are talking about different nations here: Germany, Italy, Sweden, and France. So there's no trend. The trend actually is the difference between 1995 and the year 2000 in terms of the owner growth. We're not talking about the number of mobile phones, we're talking about the mobile phone owners. So this is one thing in the millions. So for example, the UK had 12 million mobile phone owners in 2000. Okay, so let's answer the questions first here. Write one sentence which says what the graph shows. It shows the difference in, or the mobile phone owner growth of the European nations. Okay, all of these nations are in Europe, except the UK. So we are talking about the mobile phone owner growth in the European nations, okay, between 1995 and 2000. Or the graph shows a comparison between the numbers of mobile phone owners in 1995 and 2000, okay, in the nations of, or in Europe, in the nations of Europe. Let's see here, the graph shows the increase in the number of mobile phone owners in Europe between 1995 and 2000. Now let's see what overall is. First of all, overall, when we take a look, we see that the green lines are larger than the red ones. So the mobile phone owners increased across Europe. Overall, in all of Europe, the number of phone owners was this, and then became this, and so on. So two sentences that give overall information about the graph. Overall, it is noticed that the number of mobile phone owners has increased dramatically across all of Europe, with the largest increase in number being 10 million people in Germany. Maybe. Overall, the number of mobile phone owners has risen considerably since 1995. In some countries, the figure has more than doubled over the 5 years. The figure has more than doubled in some of the nations. in almost all of the nations except Denmark, maybe, and Finland. Denmark and Finland. Okay? A fourth sentence about France. Here we have a huge increase in the number of mobile phone owners. For example, in France, the number of mobile phone owners has increased more than 7-fold. Okay? When you say times 2, that's double, right? When we say times 3, that's triple. Then we have quadruple. Okay? But after that, we just say 5-fold, right? 6-fold. And in this situation, 7-fold. So the number of mobile phone owners, okay, has increased 7-fold in France, from 1 million to 7 million. This is about France. Maybe you can say something about the UK. It has tripled. I think from 4 to 12, that's about, has almost tripled. So the number of mobile phone owners in France has increased 7-fold, while it only tripled in the UK, or while it almost tripled in the UK. Finally, France has 4 times. But of course, try to make them a bit different in style. In France, for example, the number of owners has increased 7-fold, from 1 million to 7 million in 2000. Again, here's 7-fold. In 1995, the UK had the greatest number of owners. Now, this is something I didn't notice. The UK had the greatest number of owners. But then Germany had that honor in 2000. So we are seeing here the largest number of mobile phone owners in the green bars and in the red bars. I don't think it's very important to mention what the lowest number is, since we have many nations that have the lowest number of mobile phones. Okay? So just say the highest number here and here, in the UK and Germany. So the number of mobile phones in 1995, the UK had the greatest number of owners at just 5 million, and this figure increased to 12 million in 2000. The greatest number of mobile phones owners is now in Germany, however, okay, where ownership has risen from just 4 million in 1995 to 14 million in 2000. Alright? The graph does not provide information about population size. If you choose to include this information in your answer that is not given in the task, if you choose to include information in your answer that is not given in the task, you will not gain extra marks. You should never bring anything of your own background. In fact, it may be considered irrelevant and penalized if you make detailed comments about information that is not provided in the diagram. So don't say anything that is not mentioned in the diagram. We all know that the UK has about 60 or 70 million people, and Germany has the same number, while the Scandinavian nations like Sweden and Denmark, and Norway maybe, have very low numbers of people. Alright? But do not include this information in the graph, because they have not mentioned the number or the populations. Okay? In the bar graph, find the highest bar in all of the numbers here and talk about. Okay? And of course, since the lowest amount of mobile phone owners are 3 nations, not just 1, I don't think it's very important to talk about this. But it's important to talk about these peaks. What about the next one here? We have another graph, or another group of graphs here, and we are trying to describe them as concisely as possible. To be concise is to be short, but to the point. So first, the important features of the following graph, I'm going to write above the graph, I think in black. All right. So first, let's see. Average book prices in pounds sterling. By the way, pounds sterling, I think it's the figure F. Sadly, I don't have means to write it here. It's like the pound sterling, it's like the F. Okay, this small F with a dash in the middle. Here, and then like this. That's a pound sterling. Okay, it's the main currency in Great Britain, unlike the euro, of course. Statistics published by the Policy Studies Institute, that's not important, but the average book prices in pounds sterling is the piece of information we're looking for here. School textbooks, children's books are the cheapest, scientific, technical, medical books, academic and professional books. So let's try to take a closer look now, or first, before we take a closer look, let's take a look, or let's look from far away. What's the highest price? This one, right? What about the lowest one? Then we take a look at the trends. So let me just write down here. Alright, so this is the highest price in general, and these are the lowest prices. Now we have some years. We don't have to describe the years over and over again, especially in places where the trend is clear. For example, here the price is stable. The price here is very stable. Of course, it was very low at the beginning, then they rose, okay, to a stable point throughout the years from 1991 till 1995. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of the prices are stable. Here, that's a definite trend here, up. Okay, so this is a steady rise. This is stable. And this, all right, academic and professional books are also experiencing a steady rise. Of course, with the small exception that this is a very small plateau, not a big problem. Okay? Now, of course, the thing we need to focus on the most is the scientific and technical and medical books. Their prices are fluctuating. They were low, they were a bit high here, they fell, they rose, and so on. Alright? So this is something that we need to focus on. Okay? We will state that the children's books prices are stable, and school text and academic professional books are experiencing a steady rise. Okay? And then we will talk about scientific books. So first we begin with the first highest and lowest curves. Then we talk about the differences in trends, and maybe we can even mention the highest and lowest points in the scientific books here and here. And then, of course, we end with a conclusion. I'm going to write a large text here. Hopefully, the top of the page will be enough. If not, I'm just going to move on to another whiteboard. First, the bar charts show the, don't say average book prices in pounds sterling. Just try to say try to say this sentence in a different way. Just say show the price of the prices of several types of books in Britain. All right, the prices on average. The prices on average, all right, of several types of books in Britain. Okay, of course, of several types of books. Just say pounds sterling. Of course, in my opinion, or personally, I would say that it's safe to assume that in pounds sterling means in Britain, but since they have not mentioned anything about Britain, maybe they would mention it in the question heading here in the rubric above this question, maybe. But they have not mentioned the price of books in pounds sterling, so leave them. So don't say they're in Britain. Okay? They have not mentioned where these books are being sold, so just don't say they're in Britain, even though it could be a bit obvious. So, the bar chart shows the prices, on average, of several types of books in pounds sterling over the period from 1991, okay, to 1995. 1995. Alright? Say, generally speaking, okay, or overall, maybe. Overall, I'm just going to take my other keyboard here. Overall, or generally speaking, overall, it is noticed that the scientific, now if you want to replace scientific, technical, medical books with just one word, what would it be? Maybe that the technical books, or that the specified books, that the specified or specialized books, okay, like they and the medical references, maybe like the scientific and medical references, that the specialized book retail the highest. Retail here means are being sold for the highest price. Okay, retail at the highest price. Retail at the highest price range. Okay, while children's books are the cheapest. So retail at the highest price range, which is between the highest price range, which is around $40, while the children's books are the cheapest, retailing at a maximum of $5, I think $10. Full stop. Right? Is highest